Is it? Okay. All right. All right. So obviously I'm not a technology guy. All right. So thanks, Ian. Thanks for having me out. Thank you guys for letting me talk. Everybody can hear me okay? I don't know. I can't hear on this side. So this is a first run at this. You know, like you said, I started this probably about 4 or 5 months ago. I was called to this ministry because I think that growing up the way that I grew up, I think that the biggest problem as I've gotten older now, I'm 46 years old, and I've noticed in our world that we're lacking men. We're lacking really good, solid men. And, you know, and listen, I may say some stuff that triggers some of you guys, and I may hit a soft spot or a hard spot in your heart. And I don't mean to offend anybody because some of you guys may have been subjected to the very life that I'm speaking of that I want to stop. You know, and that's you know, kids growing up fatherless or without any sort of leadership and mentor and things like that. I want to try and put a stop to that. So that's what I'm after. So again, if any of you guys have grown up in a situation where you didn't have a male influence in your life, then it's up to you to change that legacy for your family, okay? And maybe, hopefully I can give you something to walk away with today. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my story, because some of you guys were here before. I won't go all into it like I did last time, but I'll tell you it was riddled with a lot of darkness from my past. I grew up in the streets, ran around really, really hard. I smoked a joint, lost my virginity on the same day. I was 12 years old. It was a snow day. I know you guys are looking around, you're like, gosh, dang, that was a good day, right? Yeah, you would think, right? But it led to a lot of destruction later on in life. So 12 years old, think about that. Any of you guys have sisters, little sisters? Could you think about that? Think about one of your friends, a guy that's 12, having sex with your 12-year-old sister. It makes me absolutely disgusted. We need to change that stuff, right? We need to change the way we think, what we think is cool. You know, what society tells us cool, what guys, the locker room talk, what's cool. We need to redefine what cool is. And I'm going to tell you, more oftentimes than not, cool is going to be really, really against the grain. In a lot of cases, what's really cool, you're going to be alone doing it. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about tonight, about being a man, what that looks like, okay? So my story, I grew up on the streets, you know, running around hard. Let me reverse. I didn't grow up on the streets. I had great parents. I chose to run on the streets. I was the youngest of 5 kids, pretty rebellious. You know, I always joke that I used to have 4 dads and 2 moms because the next brother up from me was 7 years older than me, and then they went all the way up. My oldest brother's 15 years older than me. So as you can imagine, I was heavily parented by a lot of people, and I couldn't anywhere I turned, I was getting told what to do, whatever. So I wanted to break out of that. So I started running. I would often run away from home just to get away from that. You know, that leads to getting hooked up with the wrong people, wrong crowds, and as you can imagine, it spirals from there. So I spent pretty much most of my your guys' age, you know, doing drugs, smoking weed. I got into methamphetamines really heavy when I was 17. Who's 17 here? Okay, your age, rolling around. Not long after that, dropped out of high school. Got really, really hooked on drugs. Got off drugs, started racing motocross, did really good for a while, got back into drugs. My bike got stolen. It's just a litany of things, one after another. And you know, it's not poor me because I put myself in most of these positions, okay? So as time went on, it eventually led to bigger, badder, harder things, cocaine, selling drugs. It spiraled out, you know. And the media and everything that I knew what was cool was the tough guy stuff, right? The gangster stuff. I thought that was cool. Cars, jewelry, women, money, that stuff was cool. I was enamored by all that, right? We didn't have it. We didn't have money. We didn't have, you know, that life led to much, much darker places. So eventually, I'm going to fast forward through some of this. I ended up in prison. At 22 years old, I caught a federal case with the federal government. They knocked on my door about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I was still sleeping because I was up from the night before. I walk down the stairs and I look out the back window. As I'm walking out the stairs, I've got 25 federal agents at my back glass door. They pointed me to go to the front door. I go to the front door. There's got to be 50, 60 federal agents all over my yard, DEA, FBI. They take me in. So anyway, you guys don't know. Prison, went through that, 4 years, got out, 46 months, got out. Flew straight for a while, did learn my lesson, I've never sold drugs again, but slowly started fading, getting back into doing drugs, which led down an even darker, deeper, destructive road, because now, year and a half out, I get married. I have a child. Okay, now the gravity of my decisions start becoming even heavier, right? Because now I'm impacting people. And if you reverse and you go back through all of my life, man, I was actually a pretty good kid. I was just ornery. I partied, I did drugs, but I didn't really cause a lot of harm to people. Like, I wasn't raping, I wasn't murdering, I wasn't robbing old women, nothing like that, right? So I know it's hard to say that I was a good kid when I was doing all that stuff, but I was. I was raised by good parents. I grew up in a community with, a lot of these guys. I was good. I was a pretty good person. I was just led wrong, right? And that's why leadership is so, so important. All it takes is somebody to steer the energy that I have, and I'm doing, who knows where I'm at today, So anyway, so let's go through all this, and then I end up getting hooked on meth again. I got strung out again. This time, I've got a wife and 3 children. One of them standing over there. Tony, Mike Jr., my namesake, bad. Right? Finally, my wife kind of finds all this stuff out and calls me to task and says, hey, I love you, but I love myself and these kids more. You got to get out. So I left, and that was it. I thought, okay, I'm no more double life, because I had women, and I'm doing drugs, and I'm just living that. It's very stressful living those double lives, right? When you don't live a life of honesty, it's stressful, because you don't, you're stringing together lies. You don't know who knows what, and everybody's not your friend. Plus, you amplify that with being on methamphetamines. You're paranoid about everything. It's just stressful. Okay, and then finally, in a hotel room one night, I think I've shared the story with most of you guys have heard this, but some haven't. I'm in a hotel room one night, and I had the drugs. I always had a lot of drugs, so I used to party with everybody and get everybody high. I would never sell it, but I would get everybody high. And no one shows up this night to come party with me, which I thought was really odd, because I'd never been the case. Because if anybody knows anything about drug addicts, they're always going where the free drugs are at. No one showed up this night, and I thought it was odd. And it wasn't by chance, just like Anthony said. Nothing happens in this world by chance. God has everything perfectly and wonderfully created and mastered for you. You just got to know when to step into that, okay? So this moment, I had a notification go off on my phone, because I had cameras wired in my house, hidden, so I could see if my wife was talking to lawyers or what she was doing, to be ahead of it, right? So I'm paranoid. And then I hear her crying. I hear her weeping. And my oldest daughter was 6 years old at the time. She says, Mommy, tell me what's wrong. Mind you, this is about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm listening. I'm in a hotel room by myself. I'm higher than a witch doctor, and I'm listening to all this. I hardly hold my head up. Been up for a few days. And she said, baby, I just miss Daddy. And she goes, Mommy, I miss Daddy too. And that wrecked me. It just absolutely wrecked me. It was a turning point for everything. I just busted out crying, and I'm crying hysterically, like ugly crying. Any of you guys ever ugly cry? Yeah. I was all up in my feelings. And then finally, I said, God, what have I done to my family? And I don't even know, what do I do? How do I get my family back? I don't even know where to start. And I just heard this voice. It said, go home. Just like that. It was real calm in my ear, go home. So I jumped up out of my chair, and I'm looking around, because I thought somebody had snuck in the hotel room, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm hearing voices. And sat there for another couple hours getting high and processing everything that just happened. And she asked me to come sit with her and or sit with the kids while she went and tried out at church one night. And so I went over there, and she didn't know this happened. And she goes to the church, and they were playing the Chiefs game. The Chiefs and the Patriots were playing that night. It was January 16, 2016. And so anyway, of course, she doesn't care about that, so she comes back home. We talk. She tells me, okay, I'm going to bed, which was my sign to get out. And I said, look, I'm going to stay here too. This is my house, and you're my wife. I want to come home. And she looked at me like, what are you doing? And my wife's full-blooded Italian too. So how many Italians I got in here? Who's got Italian mom? Crazy, right? So she said, look, if you think you're going to go home tonight, leave tomorrow, you're going to do this back and forth, I'm out. You got one shot. That's it, one shot. And I said, babe, I only need one chance. And that was it. I quit drugs. I walked away from everything that night, and I started piecing my life back together. And she took me home, and I said, listen, I can't do this without you. And that's another thing we're going to talk about with leadership and men. Men, life is heavy, and it's going to hit you hard. You can't do it alone. Don't try to do it alone. You can't. You're not designed. If you look in the Bible, we're designed to be in community with one another. So make sure you're not going at this life alone, and by all means, make sure you pick a wife that's going to stand by you in these times, because it ain't always good, okay? Times are tough. So that's a little bit about my story, and it goes up from there. So by the grace of God, I was saved in a hotel room one night. That's kind of what I tell everybody, So here I am to further my mission. I'm like, you know what? I've got this second chance at life. I got to do something right this time. You know what I mean? I gotta change things. I gotta not only change my life, but I gotta impact people's lives around me. God, I'm not special enough for God to save me for me. I realize that. God didn't save me for me. God saved me for everyone. I gotta to be an impact, right? To bring others. My job, everything I do, I'm a car dealer. I work in a car business. I sell cars for a living. My wife owns this business. But my real job is to get me and my family and everybody I know that I come in contact with to heaven. That's my job, okay? However I can do that, whatever vehicle I can use for that, I'm going to, because I think that's why my life's been restored. So step into your calling. Sometimes it ain't easy. Sometimes you're going to be in situations like this where you don't even know what you're going to say, but you pray and you let God lead the way. But if you step out in obedience and know you're doing it for the right reasons, He's going to pull you through it, okay? So I'm going to go through. So I started this company. The way it was born is I see a psychologist, not because I'm messed up. Actually, yeah, I am. I'm really messed up. Let's be honest. Yeah, we all are. We all. You guys, you'll get there. Trust me. Wait till you have a wife and kids and everything else. That's y'all up. I'm just kidding, kind of. Anyway, so listen. So I work with this doctor. Really, I was trying to hit an extra gear. I told Anthony when we talked, I said, man, there's just more out here. I know there's more in this life, and I want to do more. I want more, and it's not more money. That's nice. I'm not going to turn that down. But I want more influence. I want to expand. I want to expand my reach, and I want to impact more people's lives. I feel called to do that. I've been blessed with the ability to connect with people, have relationships. I'm not the brightest star in the sky by any stretch of the imagination. Half of you guys in here already have a better education than I do. I dropped out my senior year. I was high all the way through my junior year. So juniors and seniors, you got me beat on education. So I'm not smart, but I've got a God-gifted talent and ability to connect with people on a deeper level. So that's what I'm going to do, right? So this leadership thing, I'm like, man, I know there's more influence, and his name's Dr. Wayne Chappelle. He's the team doctor for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And does anybody understand who the Thunder is and what they just did? Does anybody know about all the records that they broke? Do you guys know they're the youngest team in the NBA? They just smashed all sorts of records and just everything, right? And that was all culture, and this guy's been a big instrument in that. And so I get to work with him on a weekly basis, and we talk on the phone, and he said, hey, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to come up with an acronym. Or he said, I want to come up with some words, and you're going to give them to me that best describes who you want to be as a leader. So I start, humble. I want to be nice. I want to be, just start going responsible, all these things. We list about 25 words. He said, here's your homework. Take these words and go make an acronym. Somehow form an acronym, something that you can remember. 4 or 5 of these words. Make an acronym. So I did what everybody does to do their homework and everything else. You go to ChatGPT, right? All right, so listen. So anyway, so he says, do this acronym. So I put all the letters in. I go on Facebook and I take a poll. Hey, if you know me for any period of time, whatever your experience is with me, tell me one word that best describes who you think I am, or best describes me based on what you know. I got all these people responded, and I started writing all these words down. And strong and solid were 2 words that I really, really liked, right? Being a solid dude's good, right? Being a strong dude's good. So I like those. So I wrote them both down. I start compiling words from ChatGPT with all the letters, and I'm looking, and it's piling up on the strong side. So I kind of ditch solid, and I really focus on strong. I start whittling all the words down. Well, I get it all the way down. Fast forward, I get it all the way down, and I got everything figured out except for R on strong. I had resilient, and relentless. Well, those are really, really good words, right? So I'm like, man, I can't, Doc, here, listen, this is what I got. I'm kind of stuck. I've got two R's here. I don't want to interchange them. I need to come up with a deal. And he said, why don't we do this? You left this word out. You didn't really do anything for this word. I can't remember what it was, but he goes, why don't you go stronger, plug in encouraging for the E, and do that other R, and you pick up both R's. Man, it's a great idea. So here we go. It's born. Stronger, right? So I'll go through that with you, and then we'll go through all the letters here in a minute. So if anybody, most of you guys don't know me. Charlie, some of you guys don't know me, but anything worth doing is worth overdoing, in my opinion. Like I don't just do something just a little bit. I go all the way in, and it applies in everywhere in my life. So I immediately, 2:00 in the morning, I get on GoDaddy and I start looking for domain names. I'm going to do a website. I'm going to do a non-for-profit company. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to buy a private jet. Put the stronger on the side of it. I don't, just kidding, kind of. Hopefully, I don't see. So I don't, I go all the way in. I find because of domain names that weren't available, I was looking for all sources. So I landed on The Stronger Leader. That's how I came up with the company name, because the domain name was available. So Stronger Leader, it's born, right? So now you got to do what any company does. You got to have a mission statement, right? So I come up with a mission statement for The Stronger Leader. I don't know it by heart yet because the company's still young, but I got it written down, so I'm going to read it to you. So the Stronger Leader and the hashtag Stronger movement are dedicated to empowering boys and men to become compassionate leaders. Let me back up for 1 minute. I started doing a bunch of videos on like TikTok and YouTube and all that stuff. And my son, he's 10 years old, he's just watching me. And he asked me, Dad, what are you doing? I looked at him, I'm trying to influence my son to be a man, to be a better. I said, you want to do this with me? He's like, what do I got to do? I said, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know. Let's do it together. It's like, yeah, I'll do it. So we started, this is our mission that we do together, and I'll show you a logo that we have, the TC2, because he's junior, so we threw the 2 in there. So it's him and I, we do it together. So that's where the boys come in. So the Stronger Leader, I said, here, you get the 10-year-olds, and you lead them to heaven, and I'll get the older ones, and then together we'll lead a bunch of guys to heaven. Cool? So that's kind of how that's set. So the Stronger Leader and the hashtag Stronger movement are dedicated to empowering boys and men to become compassionate leaders in their homes, communities, workplaces, and schools, while inspiring them to honor, protect, and provide and serve the women in our lives by modeling good men for our mothers, wives, daughters, and sisters. We believe in fostering a culture of spirituality, trustworthiness, and resilience, being open-minded, noble, genuine, encouraging, and having a relentless approach to all things in life. A place where every individual is pushed to rise up to their God-given potential while supporting others to do the same. Through mentorship, education, and active engagement, we aim to motivate the leaders of today and tomorrow to cultivate positive change and build stronger, more connected communities of men. So that's our mission, right? Did you guys like that? Pretty good, right? Let's go through the letters. I asked my son if he would do it, and he was a little shy. He said, Dad, I've never talked in front of 10 people, let alone 100. So I said, all right, I'll let him out on this one. So S, spiritual, okay? Let me just go through the letters, and we'll come back, and I'll hit on kind of what they mean to me. So S, spiritual, which, by the way, you know what? Let's do this. Once you guys pass these around. Charlie, you got a bracelet. Let's just start down here. Just pick one out. Take a bracelet. There's for any of you guys, you're a bigger guy. So if any of you bigger guys get one that doesn't fit, I got some bigger ones. So just come get me. You might want that. You're a big dude. I figured there'd be some big guys in here. Who's the biggest guy in here? Look, everybody points down here. Uh-oh. All right, so we'll go through letters. You guys all get your bracelets here in a minute. And if you guys want to take a couple, go ahead. I don't care. It's no big deal. So S, spiritual. T, trustworthy. R, resilient. O, open-minded. N, noble. G, genuine. E, encouraging. And R, again, for relentless. That's what I came up with out of all the letters. There's a lot of really fantastic character traits that you would definitely want to be in your school, home, workplaces, and all that. These are just the ones that I chose that I think are best fit for the things that I believe in the most. They align with my values. So spiritual, let's talk about spirituality, why it's so important. So spirituality is important because it incorporates a component that's called faith. You guys familiar with faith? So faith is having trust and belief in the unseen, right? So let's talk about how that can spill over into real life or something maybe that you guys. So who's the starting quarterback this year? I hope like 4 of you guys raise your hand. You starting? Who's coming for your spot? Anybody? You got 3 starting quarterbacks, Barry. What are you going to do? That's solid. I love it. All right. So let's say state. We're at state. We're in the championship game. There's 2 minutes left. We're down by 6. We got the ball. 60 yards to go. You got maybe your first 2 strings of quarterbacks are out. We got a third. We got a third string, right? So having a spiritual component in your life where you have muscles trained to have faith, it would give you guys an ability to believe in somebody, right? Have you ever seen him march 60 yards in 2 minutes in a state championship game? But would you get behind him and support him in that moment? Would you have faith that he's going to do it because you got the team that's going to support him? You'd have faith in the unseen, right? That's a grounding from spiritual belief. If you don't have spiritual beliefs in your life and you don't understand what faith is and you don't believe in something bigger than yourself, then you wouldn't have faith in this guy, right? I got faith in you, dude. All right? So that's why spirituality is important, okay? Second, let's talk about trustworthy. Trustworthy, the word trustworthy, it's in itself, right? Be true. But listen, trustworthiness has more to it. You know, being accountable and dependable, someone that people can get behind, right? You have to know that you can depend on somebody. That's what trustworthy is. Trustworthy doesn't mean right, okay? For instance, you guys are in that same game, something happens, whatever, Coach Simone calls a play, you guys disagree with it. You disagree with the play. And guess what? You're right, play sucked, okay? Well, guess what? Do you stop believing in him? You don't stop believing in him, right? Because you trust that he made that play with all the knowledge that he thought was best in that moment, what he thought was best for the team, right? So you're not down on him. That's what trustworthy, that his character of being a trustworthy person is what allows that to happen. Because listen, if you make judgment calls and you're not very good at owning your mistake, you're not a trustworthy person, no one's going to continue to follow you if you make poor decisions. But if you make a poor decision in a moment that's not aligned with your character trait most or all of the time, people will follow you. It's okay because you're trustworthy. Okay, that's why that's important. It's especially important in leadership. R, resilient. So I'm going to kind of, this is just, it's a test of your mettle, right? Resilience has to do with healing. You guys have heard the terminology a lot about kids. Kids are very resilient, right? They fall down, they scrape their knee, they scrape, the bruise, whatever's gone in like 2 days, right? Kids are resilient. You're able to heal at a quicker rate. Trust me, when you get older, it sucks. I'm nursing like a 2-year-long hamstring tear. You guys would probably be over in about 2 months. Resilience is an ability to heal rapidly from something, okay? I'm going to come back and I'm going to tie that into the other R here in a minute. Open-minded. Remember this, and you guys need to know this as a team and when you're leading other people. One can't be the best version of themselves by themselves. I told you guys this earlier. So if you are Mr. Know-It-All and you always got the answer and nobody can ever tell you nothing and you're not open-minded, you're going to be alone and it's going to suck and you're not going to win. You're not going to get anywhere. Okay? So be open-minded. Listen to people around you. Seek wise counsel. Older than you, younger than you, it doesn't really matter. Be open-minded. Okay? And noble. Have a purpose. Have a good purpose for everything that you do in life. Make it deep. Make it meaningful. Do something that's going to do something for someone else, right? Lead with a you first mentality, not me. You. Help people. Make it right. Noble, when you also think of noble, there's royalty that comes with that. And I'm going to have a little play on words here because we are all the sons of the one true king, right? So we should act like royalty. Keep your head held up and act like a prince. You're the son of a king, Jesus, right? So do things that are noble for the kingdom. Got it? G, genuine. Like trustworthy people, they need to know that you mean well for others. Be real, not right. You don't have to be right. Be real. Let people know that when you're doing something, there's no ulterior motives behind it. You're operating with the purest intentions of your heart. I tell people all the time, with me, there's two things, about only two things that you can bank on. Okay? I'm going to tell you the truth as I know it, and it's going to come from my heart. It's going to come from a good place. Now, the disclaimer, I can be wrong. I might be wrong, but it's the truth as I know it, right? And the other disclaimer is, you might not like what I have to say because it might be very direct and it might hurt your feelings, but it's coming from my heart. And you guys have heard of the hard truth, right? Sometimes you got to tell your friends the hard truth. Hey, bro, that's stupid. Quit being an idiot, right? It may get, come on, bro, man, the girls are going, it doesn't matter, man. You drank tonight. You shouldn't have drank. We're not supposed to drink. You're now, and you want to drive a car. That's stupid. Don't do that. No, man, I'm your friend. And if you don't want to be my friend because of this, it's okay, right? But you got to be genuine, right? It comes from your heart. All right. Encouraging. You got to lift others up. If you don't have anything nice to say or positive to somebody or somebody's, don't say it. Keep it to yourself, right? When you walk into a room, are you going to be the thermostat or are you going to be the thermometer? You guys know what the difference is? What's a thermostat do? What's a thermometer do? Just tells you the temperature, right? Change the temperature. You walk into a room, be a light. Be positive. Be uplifting. Just the spirit about you makes people smile, makes them happy, just puts them in a better mood. That's what encouraging looks like. How do you get that personality? How do you get that persona? By constantly and always being the guy, always saying positive things. Who's known for that in here? Who's the guy that's always lifting people up? Saying good game, attaboy. Who's the best? Simone, who's the best? Where'd Simone go? Who's the best at that? There you go. It's a good label, man. Be encouraging. Be that, guys. When you walk in there, you know anything coming out of this guy's mouth is probably going to be positive, right? Or it's going to be nice. That's what you want to be known for. Last, relentless. Man, this one, it's kind of funny how it sums up the word stronger, relentless. I'm going to tie this into resilient, how they're closely related, but they're different. So you can get up after getting knocked down and heal and be like, you know what? I'm cool. Man, that hurt. I'm cool. But I'm just going to go sit over here. Or you could get up, man, that hurt, but I'm ready to go again. Coach pulls you out because you just got blasted over on the sideline. Your days, you got him. You got blasted over there on the sideline, right? Man, I'm good, coach, but don't put me back in. I'm over here. Hey, I'm good. Put me back in, coach. Which one hit me? which number? I'm going after him, right? That's really, and go again. And then he hits you again, and you go back again, right? I think the famous theologian Rocky Balboa. It's not how hard. It's not. What is it? Yeah. Yeah. Right? I mean, Rocky, Father, you probably learned that in seminary or something, right? Same thing. All right. So listen. This is all, and listen, by no happenstance, God has a plan for everything. S is the first letter of the word. R is the last. Spiritual, it's the grounding and the foundation for everything, right? If you don't have a firm foundation in Jesus, the rest of it is meaningless. It will crumble. All of your other attributes will fail under pressure if it's not on a foundation of Jesus, okay? So S being the first letter of the word, starting this thing out, you've got to get that part right. You've got to get that part right, okay? And then the last word, relentless. Man, you can't quit. Guys, you think football's hard. Wait till life hits you. Life is hard. These two-a-days, you're going to pray to go back to school and do two-a-days once life starts hitting you. It's hard. But you got to hit you and you got to keep going. You can't give up. And then you start having kids that depend on you. And then you have friends, employees, coworkers, family. People start, that the gravity in that gets heavy. You got to be a man to stand up to that stuff, okay? So let's talk about that. Just a little interaction here. I need somebody to volunteer and jump out here. I need to know, come on. What's your name?
Justin.
Justin? See if that worked. All right.
Hi.
All right. So, what size shirt are you, Justin?
Medium, I think.
Medium? All right. Here's a shirt for you. All right. So, I want to know, what is the definition of a man? A real man?
I think someone who can provide for the people he loves.
Okay. It's a good answer. What else?
Someone who has like a strong sense of
Strong sense of what? Tell me. Say something. You got it.
a strong sense of like knowing like what to do when like times are tough.
Right from wrong. Got a moral compass. Good. That's good. Good job. Give him a hand. Who else? Come on. Somebody else. I need some more. There's a lot to a man. We're men, right? We're all men. There's a lot more to us. What else? Somebody else. Who else? Who wants a T-shirt? Come on. Come on down. The camera gonna get him, huh? What's your name? Say it.
That's him.
That's him. Nice to meet you. What size are you?
I'm doing large today.
You can do large today? All right. Tell. I'll find your shirt. You tell us what's the definition of a man?
For me, what a definition of man is, I like look at my dad, like someone who can like lead by example and not like boast or be loud, but have the ability to lead men, not only with his words but by the way he walks. And a man with a good moral compass who like never goes back on his word. That's what I see as a man.
All right. Good job. Yeah. What's your name? Frankie. Tony.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. What size shirt are you? All right. Go ahead. What's your definition of a man?
I'll say a man is a lover, a provider, a protector, and a teacher.
Maybe one more? Come on. We'll have some more opportunities, don't worry. I ain't leaving with these shirts. What's your name?
Chris.
Chris. Tony. Nice to meet you. What size shirt are you?
Medium person.
What's your definition of a man?
A guide for those around him. Somebody who can.
Did you say a medium?
Huh?
You say a medium?
Yeah.
You're a big old dude for a medium. You like a tight, like.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So like looking around, watching seniors help the freshmen and those who are new. It's somebody who can help and guide those who are around them, help them improve and find their place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brian. So, let's talk about a man being dangerous. Dangerous has, caution and a very, woe, right? Dangerous can have somewhat of a negative connotation, right? Like, don't hang out with that kid, he's dangerous, right? But it's not. It's not all bad, right? So all dangerous means is being capable, right? Be capable. Capable of what? Capable of a lot of things, right? So let's talk about being spiritually dangerous. It's fitting for this group, right? Being spiritually dangerous makes you capable in a moment where things can get really, really dicey, and you're able to stand up and be bold, stand for what's right, but you're armed, you're weaponized with Scripture, with truth, with faith. It's different. The other piece I want to talk about that is holy toughness. I think Mr. Simone talks about that. Coach Simone talks about holy toughness, right? So let's talk about that. Holy toughness is in a moment. Let me put it into words that you guys might know. Somebody's starting crap with you, and they get in your face and they want to fight. right? Having holy toughness, being in that moment, caring for that person, be able to look them in the eye and say, brother, I'm not going to fight you. I'll pray for you. That's going to disarm them, right? But man, if there's a bunch of people at the school standing around, fight, 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 fight. Dude pushed you, brother, I ain't going to fight you. I'm going to pray for you. You got to have holy toughness to say something like that, especially in front of your peers, right? Wait till you're older. You're out in a bar, in a restaurant with your friends. You're out. Now your manhood's on the line, right? Dude pushed you. You got to have a holy toughness to be able to tell that guy, man, brother, I ain't going to fight you. I'm going to pray for you, okay? That's spiritually dangerous. You're being armed and equipped with verses and things from the Bible. That's why it's so important to get in that scripture and understand. I think Ephesians talks about being equipped, right? Having the sword of the Spirit. Yeah, I mean, if you read Ephesians, it's about having the armor of God, right? Being equipped, being ready for battle. That's spiritually dangerous, okay? So let's talk about physically dangerous, right? We know that one. Physically dangerous is being capable, right? Where am I at here? All right. So being physically dangerous is something that is important. To get that way, you got to be in some kind of shape, right? Maybe wrestling, some kind of martial arts, boxing. Be trained, be ready for battle. Because here's how this plays out. If you're spiritually dangerous and this guy comes up to you and he pushes you, brother, I'm not going to fight you. I'm going to pray for you. And he's like, I ain't hearing that, dude. And he takes a swing at you. Well, now I'm physically dangerous. Now I'm going to duck that swing. I'm going to shoot in the double legs. I'm a wrestler. I'm going to get him in a rear naked choke. And I'm going to choke him. All right? And while he's going out, I'm going to say, brother, I forgive you. And right before he goes out, I'm going to lay him on the ground. I'm going to say, hey, listen, brother, I'm still going to pray for you. You need to get Christ in your life. And if you try that again, I'm going to introduce you to Christ. But I still didn't hurt him. He's going to get up and walk away, and the only thing he's going to be hurt probably maybe is his pride, but he's going to think about that next time, right? Most people are going to fight, or you know what they're going to do? They're going to run scared and walk away, right? Which, listen, that's not all that bad either, walking away. But we're called to stand in and run into the fight, run into the fire. Do your best to lead that guy to a better life, right? I know that seems a little Pollyanna, a little far stretch. That was just highlighting spiritually dangerous and physically dangerous, okay? That's what being a man is about. You got to be armed and equipped. You got to be able to protect your family, right? If you're in a situation where somebody comes up on you, is trying to rob, mug you, or maybe take one of your kids. I seen a video not too long ago. There was a sexual predator, one of the world's most notorious sexual predators, and they interviewed him in prison, and they said, how do you choose your victims? He said, well, I would put my eyes on who I wanted, and I would look around and I would look for the dad. I would look at the dad, and if the dad didn't look threatening, that's the kid I would take. So be a threat. Be a threat. If you don't have some kind of physically imposing appearance of some sort, you better get one, right? Get one. It'll carry you far in life, I promise, okay? So, sum this up, guys. It's probably longer. Let's talk about being a man, okay? Here's the things you got to remember. You be a man, stand up, you be steadfast in your faith, you be strong in your beliefs, and you be unwavering. You don't let anybody change who you are. Your values mean something. Your values are going to come at a cost. It may cost you money. It may cost you friends. It may cost you a lot of things, but you don't change your values for anybody, okay? You stand up for the weak. Be steadfast in your spiritual life. You pray as often as possible. It's something I'm learning lately. You love everyone like there's no tomorrow, and you don't take life too seriously, okay? But always be prepared in those serious moments. Be equipped. Come away and then execute everything that you do in life with a relentless approach of success and pursuit, okay? So, be good, be blessed, be stronger. Okay?